Putting a collection together is kind of a process, and I guess, with all the talks of how sort of New York had changed and the sort of sort of shadowing gloom because of the economy, et cetera, I just kind of thought, well, one of the things that's so great about fashion is that it is a sort of escape, and that you could go anywhere you want in your imagination. And so I kind of took myself back in the process to a time where New York was really, for me, as a young guy, a great place where people loved getting dressed up, loved going out. And we started looking at colors, fabrics, et cetera. Things I was attracted to were very bright and reminded me a little bit of work of Stephen Sprouse, for one. And it's just kind of fearlessness in terms of the way girls specifically made themselves up. I started looking at a book that Amy Arbus had done, and there were a lot of people, again, who I knew in that book. There was Anna Sui, there was Madonna on the cover, in an oversized men's coat, with a funny pair of shoes on, and countless other, sort of New York personalities.
What was your personal life like back then? Like, what kind of music did you listen to? Where did you hang out? What did you do every day?
What did I do every day? Well, I was working. I mean, I went to school in the early 80s. I was still in school. And then I was working after school and on weekends at a store called Charivari, and that sold designer clothes. And I was going to lots of clubs and parties. I mean, I was going to, all the various, like, discos as well as, like, rock clubs. So there was Mud Club, Danceteria, The World, there was Studio 54 Xenon, and then there were all these different clubs that would pop up, and whatever, the Roxy I remember as being really popular. The first time I ever saw Madonna, like, sort of singing and dancing around was at the Roxy, and I remember being in the VIP, like, area, looking over the dance floor, and I was there with friends of mine from Screaming Mimi's, which is a thrift store here in New York, and Laura and Biff. And there was Futura 2000, who's a graffiti artist, and Keith Haring would be around, or you'd see Mick Jagger or whatever. And I don't know, there was a place called Bowlmore where John Simon ran this, like, after-hours bowling place, and you could run into, like, Dinah Vreeland or Holston, in bowling shoes and, like, expensive dresses next to kids from the East Village who were sort of in their makeshift get-ups and stuff like that. So it's just a really kind of mixed up energy, which was great.
What is your creative process like? Are you very clear from the onset?
No, I'm like totally unclear. And something is always, there's always a catalyst to starting, but that doesn't mean that's going to be what the end result is. And like I said, the thing is about last season, there were certain feelings and, like, kind of maybe nostalgic feelings, but the colors that we chose were because we were attracted to those colors and those fabrics. So they came from a purely aesthetic issue. But when we started putting things together and working on things, then the proportions took shape. And when it was, like, kind of infused with the spirit of New York at that time, then it was easier to make decisions about lengths and about hair and makeup and the look of the show.